A very happy morning to each one of you present here on Skilling on Saturdays, and I welcome you all on this auspicious morning. Today, we have with us esteemed guest Divya Madhur, who is a relationship coach. And as our topic for the day is how to build healthy relationships, let me introduce Divya ji, who is an urban mystic, trauma informed, transformative healer, guide, relationship coach, and a TEDx speaker. She believes that we all love at our core, and that's the most authentic version of each one of us. She coaches people all building a life on the foundation of love and creating conscious loving relationships. Since the love inside of us gets buried down to the layers of negative societal conditioning, unpleasant life experiences, she focuses on bringing people back to the core of who they are. Divya is a nature lover, a mother to a teenager, and three lovely dogs. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, Divya Chief, on Skilling on Saturdays, and we look forward to learn the relationship mantras from you. Welcome.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad to be here early in the morning, and I'm actually very grateful that everybody's decided to be here early in the morning. This is not a very it's not something that I see often, honestly. So it's actually very beautiful to see that people have made the effort to be present here, and I'm very grateful for this space. So yeah, I think some things that when we started a conversation between me and Shivani, I was thinking about what can be skilling, because skilling is a very functional thing that we think of. We think about things that we could do in our offices or in our jobs, in our careers, in our professions. And then when I thought through it, I felt the best skill we all need is to be human, and how to have other human interactions, if not beyond other species. So I think for us as all human beings here, and that's what I've learned in my life, and I'm only going to share from what I have learned. Again, your opinions could vary, your thought processes could vary, but I feel the relationships form the core of our life. So I felt very strongly guided to share this with you here. So if we are ready, I can actually begin with the presentation that I brought with myself today.
Yes, definitely. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just take a moment to share my screen. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Are you able to see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yes? All right. Is this one second? Is this seen on full screen right now?
Yes, it is.
Oh, perfect. Then we are good to go. Okay, so what we are talking about today is building healthy relationships. I would start this conversation with a couple of questions. So I'm requesting all of your presence to yourself, honestly. This session is not for me, this is for you. So the more you are present, the more you take away from here. And yeah, and this is the space where you can share anything, you can be free. And if you feel like there is something that is coming up for you in terms of a question and you do not want to share it with everyone, you can send me on a one-on-one basis and I will respond to it without taking your name. Yeah, so you will have your answer, and at the same time other people can also hear in case it helps them. Yeah, so in anything else, please feel free to share. Your opinions, your thoughts are most welcome. Also, your experiences and feelings and everything that comes up during the process. Okay, so I'll begin. Now, this is the first question that I want to begin with. What is the primary relationship in your life? And that's what the poster said. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about. So, what is the primary relationship in your life? And I'm not going to speak about it until I hear from all of you. So, yeah. So, what is exactly the primary relationship? What is it? What can you think of as this question is posed at you? Was the primary one, the most important one?
Relationship with self.
Yes. And what would encompass relationship with self? Yeah, I hear Krishna. Parents with myself, all right. And close bonding, all right. What else? What else? Like, how deep can you go with that? When you talk about relationship itself, how deep can you go further than that?
Apart from self, with mother.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay.
The relationship with mother, with kids is it is the family relationship. I would rather say with kids.
Yeah, thank you, Rekha, for sharing that. Yeah. So, what else? And anybody looking to share something else when we say what's the most important relationship in our life? And there is no answer which is right or wrong. We'll come to that conversation. But right now, I'm just asking this question so we all know where we are headed. Yeah. Very
And this
important.
relationship starts when when I know that I am going to deliver a baby. Then starts
Okay.
that relationship. Yes.
Got it. Yes. I'm enjoying the fact that at this hour of the morning, you're still participating and sharing. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. With whomsoever you can open your heart. Light starts from me. How deep can we go further than this? Yeah. What would be the deepest relationship we have? Something we don't think about. You know, if it was very obvious, I wouldn't be asking this question. Think of something that we don't obviously think of very normally, you know, like when we think of relationships, it's very external focused. But what would it be if that was not the case?
A relationship with self.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And how deeper can we go there? Like, what more can happen in relationship itself? What else can be a part of it?
Hey, everything will depend on relationship with self, how one is feeling about self,
Yes,
how one is respecting self, how one is treating self.
thank you for sharing that. I feel everybody has shared. Is there anyone who's wanting to share something? There's one more message in the chat here. Acceptance, yeah, of course, very important part of relationships, also with self, yes.
Aki, all so
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you properly.
whatever relationship is there in my life, it's there because I exist.
Yeah.
So as I exist, I cannot have any relationship with anybody. So naturally, the first relationship comes with is myself.
And how do you exist? If I could, absolutely, very true. You can't lie to yourself and trust. Thank you, Jamie and Mohammed.
Yeah.
Relationship with breathing.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah, that is I exist. Relating
And
to
how do you breathe?
Pinaki.
What do you need in order to breathe?
Yeah, air.
Okay, but if air is there and you don't exist, then it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Perfect respiratory system.
what holds the respiratory system? What holds the respiratory system?
My soul.
Lungs.
Okay, where are lungs held?
Body means relationship with body.
Absolutely. The first
Yeah,
experience of this
relationship with body. I got it.
individual.
Yeah.
See, it's
No,
all in the mind. You know, everything that we see, it's all in the mind. It's nowhere else.
Sorry?
Whatever we see, whatever we perceive, it's all in the mind. It's nowhere else.
But the only way we can experience this life is through the body. If we don't have a body, then the mind or heart could not be experiencing this life, right?
Correct,
There
correct,
are
correct.
people who are alive and on ventilators because their body is not supporting them, but their minds and stuff are still functional. They are doing it, but the body is not supporting them. They can't experience life, right?
Correct.
What I'm trying to just remind is that in the world of learning and growth and everything, in the world of spirituality, you look at everything. We are taught a lot about our mind, our soul, our heart, but we tend to really forget this vessel through which we are experiencing life. Because there's no way possible if we don't have a body can we experience anything in our lives. We can't experience the food that we experience. We can't experience hugs from our relationships. We can't experience any travel. We can't experience anything. There will just be a very, you know, very top level. I don't know if that like a very aerial level or very that kind of experience where we can just think about it. If it's just the mind, we can just think about it and not experience it in the physical form. The same way, if it's about the heart, we can just feel the experience but can't go through that experience, right? Imagine like anything that you like to do in your life, if playing a sport, walking, running, eating, exercising, sleeping, anything you think of, anything you do through your life, the only way you can do it is because this is a vessel called body in which you are right now. And if this body was not to function at any level, in any way, internal parts or external movement, our experience of life will be compromised in any given way. And again, this is what I'm sharing from my experiences. You're free to have your own choices and opinions here. This is not in
Yeah,
any.
from that context, even like I could think only if my brain exists.
Yeah, but brain is held in the body. If the body, like there are brain dead people, but body is still working. So what I'm trying to just say is that the vessel called body is a complete set of everything that we are carrying. It could be a respiratory
Hmm.
system. It could
Hmm.
be anything. You put together everything, digestive system. It could be a reproductive system. All of this, everything is held in the body alone. They do not have. They cannot run on an individual basis, right? Be it
Correct. Yeah.
physical organs or be it our something like a mind, because mind is more, it's not a physical organ. It's more of the presence, the cellular presence, and the knowledge that we have. So it's. I'm just trying to bring to our to this. I mean, to the group of people here that there's something that we ignore a lot in our lives, which is the body. And it's just a matter of how our lives are today. Our lives are difficult, our lives are busy, our lives are asking a lot out of us. There's so much commitments, there is so much media, there's so much exposure, there's so much responsibilities, that within that this vessel called life, body, and through which we are living our life, is often not thought about. Yeah, we are breathing. Unconsciously, we are breathing. But what if we were to put our attention on breathing? And that is when all these pranayams and stuff come out. That 5-10 minutes of taking time to breathe consciously, that itself feels like a long time. But we are breathing constantly 24/7, and we don't have notice of it. Right? I totally understand that our brain and our minds are working, and our hearts are working. Everything is working, but there is not possible if there's no vessel called body. When a baby is conceived, the first thing is the heartbeat. Alone, a heartbeat can't function that child. The child needs to be birthed into a body in order for the child to experience life. Yeah. So just going back to the chat, I saw something there. Okay. So yeah, that's it. And why are we beginning with this conversation called body? It may be like, okay, we were talking relationships. How did we end up in a biology class? It's because what we experience in our lives is through this body. All our relationships we experience in our life is through the body. Yeah, I mean, of course, there are spiritual relationships and everything, but the experience is happening through this body here in this life, at least, if not anywhere else, right? So, what do we even mean by that? Which means when you meet people, the joy that emerges in the heart, or the anger that emerges in the heart, or some kind of thoughts, oh, I don't like this person, oh, I would love to be with this person, that kind of feelings, where do they emerge? They are experienced through the body. They emerge in the heart, they emerge in the mind, but they are experienced still through the body. Yeah. So now, what is a very important part of our body is our nervous system. Our nervous system regulates each and every relationship we have, and the nervous system is deeply held in every part of the body. It connects each organ, it connects each function of our body. It moves us throughout day to day, in every second and every moment of our lives. Now, when I say nervous system, why am I even talking about nervous system? That is not what nervous system's job is. But if you, let's take an example. Let's say you enter a room and you suddenly have a very bad sense. You're like, oh, I don't feel right in this place. I feel something is not right about it. Something is uncomfortable. Have you had such feelings in your life ever? Somewhere, not necessarily a room. It could be people. It could be, say, walking into some kind of road, lane, anything like that. Or it could be probably a plate of food in front of you. You just bought the food, or you've just cooked it, and you suddenly don't feel like eating it. Have you had that feeling in your body at some point in time? Your body is just saying no, right? Where is that coming from? The same way, when you have a very good feeling, you meet someone and, oh my God, this person is so good. The person feels very nice. The person feels safe. Yeah. Or let's say, like, oh, I would like to be their friend. Or let's say I would like to have a romantic relationship with them. Something like that. You have those feelings that emerge in you. You have that experiences that emerge in you. You don't know a thing about this person. You don't know a thing about that place. So there is no mental information which could form an opinion at that point in time. There is only that feeling in the body. What's going on? Your nervous system is interacting with the nervous system of that and the other person you're meeting. So there is so much going on in our nervous system that we are interacting with. Like, I'll give you one more example. From about 5 years back, I happened to have a chain accident in a certain area in Bangalore. I'm based in Bangalore. And even after everything was done, which means car was repaired, I was totally fine. I was not injured in that place. Only car was badly damaged. Once it came back from repair, and that was my way to work. So I had to cross that place. Every time, I think for next 2 3 days, when I crossed that place after my car came back and I was driving, I would still have that feeling in my body. Oh, this was like, that flutter in the body, which is like, oh, this was the point. And there would be something that came up. Why? Because the nervous system was storing that information of that experience and of the relationship I had at that point in time with my vehicle, with that place, with that accident, and me in that accident. All that information was stored in my nervous system, and my body was naturally responding to it without thinking that this is where the accident happened. Because a couple of times I did not even realize that I was crossing from that place, and I just had a flutter that came back because the body recognized. So it's very important for us nervous system to remember that our nervous system is doing so much work for us to regulate us on a daily basis, right? And the only way we can actually experience harmony in our relationships is through a regulated nervous system. And when what do I mean when I say that? It means when, let's say, when you are in a state of anger, and even the best and the sweetest and the kindest person comes in front of you, you will still be reacting from anger if that anger is not regulated. Yeah, and same goes for me. When I say you, it does not mean it excludes me in any way. I'm just saying every human on this planet, how much ever they may have spiritually elevated, these moments still come in their lives, right? It may be lesser, it may be smaller in the quantity or the quantum of it, but these moments still happen. So let's say when you're boiling with anger, or let's say I'm boiling with anger, and even my child turns up in front of me, at that point in time, I'm not able to experience love because my nervous system is so dysregulated. And let's say there is everything is going wrong in the world at this point, like my world rather, I would say. And then I am so full of love, my nervous system is fully regulated. At that point in time, even if something goes down, let's say the child breaks something, whatever, this is a very random example at this point, I would still be kind to the child because my nervous system is regulated. So what we are experiencing in the world is not a sum of what the world is doing to us. It's actually other way around. It is what's going on inside of us and what's happening with the nervous system. We may have great thoughts. I may have amazing affirmations going on saying, oh, my life is great. And my nervous system is in some rage because of certain information that nervous system is accessing at that point in time. And in that moment, I can barely respond from my mental state. I will be still responding from my physical state. And that's why I was trying to bring our attention to the fact that our body does so much for us, so much for us. We tend to not look at it because we're really stuck up in our heads most of the time, rather, and especially given the amount of media exposure we have these days, we are so stuck up in our minds. We are hardly able to tune into our bodies and heart. And I'm not meaning to say everybody, I'm just meaning to say in a general sense. It may apply to some, it may not apply to some. And it may also apply at some points, it may not apply at some points. You know how when we are walking in nature, how beautifully regulated our nervous system is? At that point in time, someone tells you something unpleasant, you're like, yeah, it's okay. You know, I'm just saying a response system. Observe your own self and go back to situations right now. Just think of any situations that you may have faced in life where you felt regulated and you felt dysregulated. And now, what would a regulated and dysregulated mean? Regulated would mean that your nervous system is calm, your heartbeat is normal, you're not in any kind of extra palpitations or panic mode, and your mind is not racing you. Whereas in a dysregulated nervous system, your mind is racing, your heartbeat is faster, your body is having like this thing, like some need kind of like you'll always feel like when we are stressed out, we are doing this, or moving our legs. We tend to do this. That is a very dysregulated nervous system trying to regulate itself. And imagine, that Mocambo thing where it does like this. All of these actions, if you see, you will go back and you can also research about it. These are a body's natural way of regulation. You will find yourself doing all of these things. You will be finding your body doing this without realizing, very subconsciously, when you are dysregulated. And immediately feet will start to do this, we do that, then we move our feet front and back, we do all of these things. As children, we've done that in classrooms, because in classroom you're not happy. We were just put in a place we didn't want to sit in, right? So it was definitely a dysregulated nervous system if the system was not healthy, right? So now what I'm trying to remind you is that our body is naturally doing so much for us that we can't, it is beyond our understanding, honestly. It is beyond, like, apart from all the physical functions that it's doing, it's also doing so much mental emotional function for us. Yeah, and also so much of relational function for us. So I'm just trying to remind you that our body is always trying to regulate itself. It's a natural function. How can we support it further? We'll come to that. But this is just me sharing from how our nervous system holds the relationship we have. So I'll take a pause and see if there are any questions, anything arising here, and then we can move further from here. Did you have moments of realizing or just remembering and that thing saying, oh yeah, I think this happened, like, some such a thing happened? Yeah. I mean, I'll take the same example. My child may have broken a bowl or whatever, one glass item, and I was in a happy state of like, it's okay, we'll get another one, it's fine, you be careful, you be safe. But if I'm in a dysregulated state, I'm in an angry state, annoyed, frustrated, whatever, the same event will trigger so much in me. The same event, like, what are you doing? You want to take care of this, and I won't be taking care of his physical safety. My first reaction would be to that event and not to his physical safety. Whereas when I'm in a regulated space, my first reaction would be, are you okay? And we can always clear this later. We can take care of this. We can get another one. It is not what the child is doing or who or what someone is doing on the outside. It is what's going on inside that changes everything in the relationship. And you see the impact that the child will have. One option is when you're happy, you may be able to respond in a positive, healthy way. And in another situation, when you are yourself frustrated with your own life, you respond in a very aggressive way. And again, aggressive is just a placeholder here. It could mean so many other things for each person individually. Or you may respond in just a frustrated, angry, sad way, whichever way it comes up for you. At the end of the day, what I'm just trying to bring your attention to is that wherever your nervous system is where you'll respond from. It's less mental, it's more or less physical. It's really a dysregulated nervous system. There are times when, let's say, somebody with a certain name has hurt us, anytime in childhood also, and you hear the same name later on. Is there something that happens like this? Small flutter? It happens. Yeah, same name. I mean, I don't want to pick up any names so that it may be relative to anybody, but I'm just saying. So think about these small things. Maybe a place where we got hurt, we'll suddenly have that feeling. The same way, if we've had a beautiful experience with somebody with a certain name, anytime we meet somebody else with that name, we'll be like, oh, this person might be safe. Why? Because we have a memory of that in our bodies. Yeah. And again, when we say this is subconscious memories, these are held in the mind, but they are being experienced through the body. Yeah, so all of them play a role. They're all interlinked to each other. I'll move on to the next part since I don't see any questions. I just see a couple of yeses. Thank you, Shivani, Renuka, Bhamil for confirming. It's
Divya
okay.
ma'am,
हाँ जी, please बताइए. I'm
hear
listening.
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
When you are in a good mood,
Yes,
as you said, when the nervous system is regulated, you are in
yes,
good mood. Sunset is beautiful,
yes,
otherwise it is saddening.
yes. Beautiful example. Very beautiful example. Yeah, and the same thing for rains, no? So many times you'll hear people say rains are depressing.
Depressing.
And other times people are dancing in the rain, right? Very
Absolutely.
much, very much. Thank you for sharing. That's very relatable. Thank you. Beautiful example. Thank you. Yeah, and so this is what we've been talking about. I'll just do a recap here, so it's helpful for us to just remember how much our body really like. It's less. Whatever I say is less because this is how much our body is doing for us on an everyday basis, on every moment, every second, microsecond basis, nanosecond basis. Yeah. Okay, so our nervous system is basically a sum of everything that we have experienced in our lives or we have seen other people go through. So let's say if you saw someone going through something bad, that also your nervous system will register. It's not necessary you should be going through that. Or let's say if you hear about somebody, like someone went here and the snake bit them, something like that. And then that will also hold memory in your nervous system, which means that tomorrow, if you are in a similar situation, your body will respond from your stored knowledge. Whatever that stored knowledge, maybe it may come from media, it may come from friends, family, neighbors, it may come from gossip, it may come from reading, it may come from anywhere, anybody, colleagues or whatever, children, parents, relatives, anybody and everybody, but your nervous system is storing that information for you, and your body will end up responding or rather reacting. If we have not learned how to regulate our systems, it will be reactions. Once we've learned to regulate our nervous system, it will be more response. Yeah, and the difference between responding is more like when we are angry, we give a slap to somebody. But when we are responding, we are more like, okay, I'm angry, but it's okay. I'll take a couple of deep breaths and allow this information to go down my body and then respond in an appropriate way, right? Instead of reacting, there is a basic difference between reaction and response, right? Another thing, oh, sorry, I was just reading on that part. Another thing is also, it's not, it doesn't judge what is good, bad, or whatever. Nervous system does not judge that. It just collects information. So it's not like that I choose today to take somebody gave me a gift and I choose to keep that experience. But somebody did not give me a gift, I will not keep that experience. Our body will store everything. Our nervous system will store everything. So it's not a selection. It's like completely everything goes inside the system, and then the system responds from that. So many times have you seen yourself asking, I don't even know why I said that. I don't know why I did that. I have seen myself go through those situations like, okay, I have no idea why I said that. I have no idea why I did that because my body was reacting from my previous experiences without me realizing consciously as to why I was doing what I was doing. Right? So, just this is a reminder of how it works. Now, we understand what role nervous system plays. How does it, in fact, get information? And how do we get information is through our five senses. We know the five senses, childhood school time thing: eyes, ears, nose, mouth, touch. These are the five senses through which we receive information. And you apply that to everything in your life, you will know, yeah, this is how I know. How do I know a dish is good or bad? Because I have the skill or the sense of taste. How do I know some smell is good or bad? Because I have sense of smell. How do I know something is this touch is safe or unsafe? Because I have this sense of touch, which is through my skin. Skin is throughout the body. And how do I know that I'm hearing good things? Because my sense of hearing tells me that. And how do I see something that's pleasant to me or unpleasant to me is through the eyes. Also, saying that people who do not have or have limited access to their senses, other senses for them compensate. So they also are still tuned. It's just that their one particular sense may not be as active, but the other sense will be overactive. If we could call it overactive, or maybe more aware or Yeah. Now there are a lot of healing and regulation techniques that we can do. Something like breathing that we initially in the beginning Rekha discussed about. Breathing is something that we can do. There is movement, which means yoga, exercise, all of that to regulate our nervous system on a daily basis. Then we can do journaling. Journaling is a very important part because there's so much amount of dump we go through. I mean, imagine the amount of information we take in on a daily basis. And somebody's playing here. And that's fine. Okay, so the amount of information we take in on daily basis, we don't process everything. It's very important for us to journal in order to process that information that we move through. Even if it's a 5-10 line journaling, it allows us to put our brain dump on a paper. Yeah, so it's very helpful. Another thing is that as a society, if we look at it, we are always encouraged to give. Give one thing or the other. And then what happens is we end up depleted. We end up empty. We end up not having anything to give anymore. So the way to look at it is this way, that we give and we receive. It's not just giving, it's also receiving. So there's supposed to be a balance, because if we give, we will end up empty. But if we are receiving, so there is this filling and then this emptying, which means if you, let's say water tank, you can't use water after a point because you've used up all the water if you're not filling it. So why do we need every day our water tanks get filled up with the supplies that we have? If it doesn't get filled up, what would we have? Shortage. That's what happens with us as an energy, time, efforts, anything that we do. So giving and receiving is a cycle. It cannot be one way. It has to be both the ways. Now receiving may not be from the same person you're giving to. There's not a rule. It can come from anyone else also. It can come from other sources as well. Let's say as a parent, when you're giving to your children don't have a responsibility of giving back to you, because they are children and they will always remain children irrespective of how old you get and how old they get, right? But then your sources of receiving can come from somewhere else, right? Now another thing that's important, like I said in the beginning, was just now, was movement. You could look at yoga, exercise, walking, any of that is very important for a regulated system. More so if it's possible to do it in nature. So connecting with nature on a daily basis is a very important thing, because nature resets our that quota in a way. It's reset. The moment you put feet on grass for 5 minutes, that quota is reset. And of course, if you feel that you're not able to do this and it's been a constant struggle to be regulated, then professional help can definitely help. And there's no shame in taking that. I have been taking it for tons of, like a lot of it, and it's greatly helpful from coming out of a point where you do not feel you can support yourself, or your basic social system cannot support you. Yeah. Now, one very important thing to remember also is honoring our body at all times. We tend to forget that our body is doing so much for us, which means when we look at a food and it says don't eat, don't eat. When you look at a person and says this person feels unsafe for me, honor that, right? And then let's say something in your body says this person is fine, then probably engage with them. And the same way, going to a place, something in your body says, not in your mind. Mind will tell stories. How will you differentiate between body and mind chatter? Mind will tell, okay, don't go here. If you go here, this will happen, then that will happen, and that will happen, and then that will happen, and then that will happen, right? Whereas when it's your body talking to you, it will just give you one single message. Don't eat, don't go, do this, do that, something like that. So honor your body at all times. You have the power to transform your nervous system. Definitely, yes. You have the power. Even if you take professional help, they'll be able to support you so that you can do that. They can't regulate your system for you. Nobody outside of you can ever regulate your system for you. Only person who can regulate is you, but there are tools that you can use. There are people who you can take support from in order to regulate. Okay, so again, same question, how are you showing up for your body, for yourself? Because following our mind is a very easy thing to do. It will take us in all directions, and that is why it's called monkey mind. It's not called a monkey body. Our ancestors may be monkeys, but it's still called a monkey mind. Because our mind takes us everywhere. Why is it called a monkey also? Because monkey jumps from one one tree to another, constantly jumping. Monkey does not
One branch to another branch.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. One branch to another branch, constantly, I was missing the word completely. Yeah. So, yeah, from one branch to another, it does not sit still in a place. When we refer to meditation, we don't refer monkeys. Yeah. So, I'm just trying to say the stillness does not come from a monkey mind. The stillness comes from a more calm body, a regulated nervous system. And then the mind finds its way because mind's job is to keep you safe. It will tell you chatter. It will tell you. So, it's not about hating your mind because of that. Mind is trying to keep you safe, and in that, it will tell you chatter after chatter after chatter. Any decision you see when you're making, you know how much of chatter would have gone into it for days together, right? If I do this, this will happen. If I don't do this, this will happen. Blah 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 blah. It just keeps going on and on and on and on, right? So the idea here is to be reminded of the fact that when we rely only on our minds and forgetting our bodies, we may not always be heading in the direction which is healthy for us. Right or wrong, it's very relative. There's no right, no wrong. Your first relationship, coming back to the point we started from, is with yourself, and that begins with your body because you're experiencing life through your body. Okay, and your self-love has the power to heal. Self-care is a very important part of the body, which means feeding your body good food, moving your body, breathing well, sleeping well. They may seem like basics of fitness, but these are the basics of life. These are the basics of healthy life, and then also healthy relationships. But how will you have that? First, you got to have it with your own self, with your own body. Yeah. So this is not all you need. Again, when we talk about self-love, there are these brands these days that have started promoting shopping for self-love, which is really not self-love. This is their marketing gimmick. But we end up thinking, okay, buy myself something, it'll be self-love, or I'll feel better. If your happiness is dependent on buying something, then that's not true happiness. That's an external influence. If you can regulate yourself in the moment and come to a state of happiness from another place, that is without buying, eating, watching anything, that is how you will figure out that you have a system that can regulate itself. And you obviously need to enable it, right? Now, what do we also need in our relationships is healthy boundaries. It's also with your own self. Let's say eating a packet of chips or samosa or whatever that may be near, and then you have to say no to yourself. Nobody else is going to come and say no to you. And let's say somebody says no to you. The repercussions are going to be held by you. The repercussions you have to handle. So you need to have healthy boundaries with yourself, with other people as well. Right. Another thing is knowing that mistakes, we all make mistakes. There's not a single person on this planet who doesn't make mistakes. No one. We may have been told that, I didn't make, parents probably may have said, I didn't make a mistake when I was your age. I didn't do this when I was your age, but they have made mistakes. They may not be telling you, they may have made mistakes. And this is not in any way to blame or shame the parents. This is only to remind you that there is nobody perfect. We put our elders on a pedestal as a culture, and that is totally fine. However, not making them humans who cannot have any flaws at all. That's very, very important to remember. Another is trusting your intuition instead of following what others are doing. Now, everybody is going for a party, I should also go for a party. Everybody is eating this thing, I should also eat this thing. Or let's say everybody is watching this on Netflix, I should also watch it. Not really. You need to follow what your body and your heart are telling you. Because that's where the center of our wisdom lies. Our wisdom lies in our body. And let's say it this way: the first organ to come and the last organ to die is heart. Now, when the child is formed, the first thing you notice is a heartbeat. After that, other organs are formed. And the last thing when a person is dead is when the heartbeat stops. Right? So the one thing that goes on with us is our heart, and our heart is one of the bravest organs we have. Yeah, and we can always come back and tune into our heart. Very similar to the body, heart will not tell you 100 stories. Heart will only tell you one thing. A lot of times we are hanging out in toxic relationships because we are not ready to let go from our mind, not love. What we call love is usually getting stuck up in our minds because we are scared of being alone. We are scared of being lonely. We are scared of not having somebody, blah, blah, blah. Like, so that way we are hanging out on toxic relationships, not because our heart is not courageous enough to do so, to leave that place, right? So I'm just reminding you that, yeah. Another thing is saying yes when you mean it, saying no when you mean it, and communicating your needs. Very importantly, because in childhood, most of us have been taught to agree or to do certain things because some uncle, auntie, parents, teachers wanted it. You didn't want to dance, you still had to dance because that's what school wants, something like that. So what happens is, as we grow up, we get programmed to please. We get programmed to do things for others because they are expecting that from us. So know your yeses and know your nos through your body, and then say it, use it, and communicate it. At the same time, communicate your needs. Having needs is human. There's none of us who does not have needs. And if we have a need to talk to someone, we have a need to be with someone, we have a need to have a healthy sleep, have a healthy environment. This is a need. It's not a fancy thing. It's a basic human need. So communicate your needs and, of course, find ways to fulfill it. Don't have to be dependent on others to fulfill it. Yeah, so again, engage with people, activities, places that make you feel safe. And this is all we are talking about, how do we regulate our nervous system. Yeah. Engage with people, activities, places that make you feel safe, and please say no to any kind of abuse. Abuse is not just physical. We often think of abuse as physical. It's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, relational, financial. It can be so many types of abuses. So you have to be able to identify when you are feeling a no in your body and it's not feeling right, and go back to saying no there and moving out of the situation if possible. Again, let love shape your actions. Most of our decisions are made from fear. And once we start making decisions from love, life will be a beautiful place to be in, and a nervous system will be much more regulated. Okay. And we meet the world from where our nervous system is, like I said before, that if we are in a state of dysregulation, we'll meet the world dysregulated. If we are in a state of regulation, we will meet the world very regulated. And you see the days when you're having a lot of conflicts, a lot of issues with anybody and everybody, you see how dysregulated you yourself were. You will observe that. And the day, that in the movies they show that the day the hero or the heroine falls in love, everybody's smiling. Actually, everybody's not smiling. It's just that they are so happy that they are seeing a reflection of themselves in everyone. When they smile, people smile back. Yeah. So it's not about um, how is someone behaving with us. It is about how are we showing up in the world, and how is that creating our current experiences. Okay. Now, one thing is, a lot of times we have found out telling ourselves that, I'm good in this, but this one I don't, this one is not so much like that. And I'm not talking about mathematics, English, or whatever. I'm talking about that I'm very good at my work, but in my relationships, I'm not doing well. The interesting point is that how we do one thing is how we do everything. If you are not present in your relationship, you most likely will not be present in your work as well. It may be an illusion of presence, but it may not be true presence, because an escape is an escape, right? So, yeah. And one more important part is our relationships are here to, elevate us as human beings the most, which is internal and external relationships. Yeah, so very important to look at them as a tool to grow and harness. So why do we engage in relationships is a very important thing, because I also meet people these days, because of all the nuclear families, isolation, so much media exposure. A lot of people also do not engage at all. There's no social circle. There's no something like a daily basis engagement with other people. So it's important to know, why do we even engage in relationships? Yeah, so there's one thing which we need is an unconditional love and community. None of us are thriving on our own. Nobody. If we were thriving on our own, we did not need anybody else, which means our helpers, our partners, children, parents, or family, friend, or even the gardener or farmer, anybody. Imagine if we did not need a community, none of us would exist today, because we all need a community to thrive. A child cannot grow if there's no community. Healthily, child can grow, but not in a healthy way. Unconditional love and community is what we really, really deeply need. Another thing that we're all looking for, if you observe within your relationships, we run towards people who we feel safe with. Safe does not mean physically safe that they won't harm us. Safe also means emotional, mental, spiritual safety, also financial safety, right? Dependent on where and what's going on for you. Yeah, and another very important thing is to experience trust and authenticity. We are not in the relationships to experience, oh, I have this to show off, that one has this to show off, so let's compete on what we have to show off. But it's really an authenticity. Who am I deeply and who are you deeply? And let's meet each other in the darkest of places. And then, in the sense, when I say darkest of places, the darkest part of me, let's say that there is a aspect of me, like for current example, I put on weight and I feel I don't like myself with that added weight. Now, can I meet myself with this added weight? Can I go meet my people who I deeply love with this added weight on me? Can I feel fully accepted by them? That is where authenticity in relationships come in. Showing off is very easy. It's very simple. Today I'm sitting here, my full body is not visible. It's fine. I'm cool. I'm chill right now. It's fine. Nobody can judge me right now. But what when I fully show up? What when I'm uncomfortable with an added weight? And how can I move around in the world with that? So I'm just trying to say very, very authentic. Of course, like somebody brought up in the conversation earlier, was acceptance and respect. Unless you've accepted yourself, like I've accepted myself with this added weight, it's fine. As it's a process, I'll move through this weight. But at the same time, today, as with this added weight, can I accept myself? Can I love myself today with this, whatever I have? Is how I will see the world and how the world will see me also. Have you seen how when we are insecure about our dress, let's say when we walk out, suddenly we say, oh, that person is looking at my dress. Oh my God, that person is seeing my dress. Oh my God, they are judging me. You know that is going on constantly. Why? Because they are not seeing it that way, because you are seeing it that way. And you're just feeling that everybody is mirroring back what you're thinking. And the days when you're wearing a fab dress and you're feeling fab about yourself, you're like, oh my God, they're looking at me. Oh my God, see, they're looking at me. See, somebody just looked at me. Somebody moved here. Why is that happening? Because you're feeling great about yourself. Because it's the power is not in the dress. The power is inside of you for you, right? And this is an example because being a female, I know how women kind of feel when their dresses are different. I don't know if I can hold the same space with the men, honestly, but I've seen men also very conscious of their clothing and their looks and stuff. So just taking an example, which may be generic. Yeah, another thing is communication. Imagine being on silent mode from the moment of birth to the moment of death. You're not here for that. It's not even fancy for imagination, honestly. Communication is what we need. Communication is not necessarily verbal. It is non-verbal, it is visual, it can be many things. Communication, when I say happens with nervous systems, it is completely non-verbal, but it's happening. So communication is very important for us. And like I said, previous one, giving and taking, we've already spoken about it. Power and control, we're trying to run our relationships from controlling them. There's no relationship that we can run by controlling it. We can only run a relationship through love and being in our power. Which means, let's say, if as a parent, my wish is for my child to do ABC thing, and I cannot do it by dictating that. That will not be a relationship from love. That will be a relationship from me having a dysregulated system and trying to put that on my child. But what regulated system would mean that I inspire my child by doing something that I expect out of him or her, and then leaving it as an example for them to follow. You can always correct them or can always guide them, but you can't control them, right? So, and I think, at least in our culture, our children are probably, we find them the easiest to maneuver, but that has to be the least to maneuver and more to guide. Yeah, so that's that. Now, there was one more question that had been brought up in the, what all we'll cover today, is that how do you harness more in relationships? We talk about so much, and then we say these days with the media and stuff, there is a lot of closure on relationships, which means, no, I don't want to have more friends, I don't want to grow my circle, I don't want to have this, I don't want to do that. While it may be healthy to a point where you don't need to run around finding people to validate you, but at the same time, it's important to have a community, it's important to have a circle, and we'll see how do we harness that. Now, everyone wants to belong. Everyone. What do we see? We are all we are all doctors, we are all CAs, we are all, from north, from south, from east, from west. Why are we talking like this? We are talking because there is a need to belong. We all have a need to belong. What are we trying to do? We're trying to find the belonging based on our ethnicity, based on our origin, based on other factors. But the beauty of belonging is when you can belong for the human you are, irrespective of what shade, color, caste, creed, any of that you come from, right? Yeah, so belonging is a basic human need. Yeah, if we say we belong to this family, we belong to this city, But our basic need of belonging is belonging to this humankind and to kind humans also. Or belonging with, rather. We don't belong to anyone, honestly. We are not commodities. We belong with. Also choose your inner circle wisely. That is how we harness more from community. If these are people who can grow you, if these are people who can motivate to grow you rather, or who can support you in your growth, this is a good circle to have. And your inner circle doesn't need more than 4 or 5 people, honestly. It could be your primary family, which could be your friends. It also depends, again, not everybody's family is safe to rely on. It's fine to be with, but not necessarily it's safe to rely on. So it could be your friends, it could be your mentors, it could be your, like for me, honestly, at some point in time, the only people I had in my inner circle were my coaches, right? So it's all dependent on where you are in your life, and your inner circle is not a fixed thing. Like when you were a 10-year-old and you had this neighborhood friend who was your inner circle, when you are 50 years old, it's not necessarily that same friend will be your inner circle. It will move, it will change. So it's important to know at every given point of time who's my inner circle, who's my person who kind of helps me move ahead in my life and stuff like that. And we are a sum of 5 people we are closest to. So see if you want to be who you are hanging out with. Yeah, that is more to harness more. Then again, support is just cornerstone of community. Now, when we talk of community, I'm not talking community like Pandit community, Banya community, nothing like that. I'm not talking any of that. What I'm talking here is human beings at the first place, which means when we we come together, we stand up for each other, we hold each other's space, we take care or support them in any way that we can. A small, very small examples you'll find when we are in apartment setting. There are a lot of these events that come together. So then people help each other and arrange certain things. The same way, building communities that are formed from love, not because of an external commitment. Not because you live in the same apartment is why you should be a community, but that's also a possibility. But at the same time, it's important to see how can we be there for humankind at the first place. Now, I don't mean to say that you reach out to all the trillion people that are there in the world, but at the same time, how do you have a safe community, which means you can rely on, and they can rely on you, right? So building a community is a very important part of harnessing our own body, harnessing our own nervous system, harnessing our own relationship spectrum. Very important, because in this world with nuclear families and living single and living alone and moving out of cities, high migration, community has gotten lost over the decades. Community is something that nourishes us deeply, very deeply. So just going back to that whole idea that building a community will make relationships thrive. There's only so far we can go alone. And if you want to go farther than that, you have to be able to relate with other people in order to go there, right? Alone is only a short journey. The long journey is not alone. And it's obviously, these days, being cool is a very big thing, I guess. Even I see my child talking about being cool and everything, that if I do this, I feel cool, so but it's cool to be kind. It's very cool to be kind. There's nothing uncool about being kind, and this will never happen. It is across timelines, across generations you go back, you will see being cool is always kind. And being cool also, sorry, being kind also gives a very full heart, which can give more, which can do more, which can receive more. Forgive yourself. Have you heard yourself saying this? Oh, I can't forgive myself for this. Oh, I made a blunder. I made this. I did this. Because the only person who judges you the most is you. And who needs to forgive you the most is also you. When you forgive yourself, you allow the world to love you and take care of you. And I mean the world, literally the world. There'll people come up from everywhere who can be there for you whenever you need them, kind of thing. So forgiving yourself is super duper important. And then love is a very transformative force. This is not the love we are talking about in the movies. We are talking of the love, the energy of creation in the world. It's a very transformative force. It can change everything. And that's what runs us as human beings. That's what runs our relationships. That's what literally runs our world. We may think politics does, it doesn't. Love does. Politics is to the mind, love is to the heart. Yeah, and let's live with love and harmony. That's what it is at the end of the day. So this is my little share on how to build healthy relationships. I'm stopping sharing here. Yeah. That's all. Any questions, thoughts, experiences, anything that emerged for anybody, I'll be happy to hear it. It's nice to share. Yeah, Mohan says,
Wonderful, Divyaji.
thank you.
Divya, one thing I'd like to tell
Gave
you,
us
the nervous system is connected to the whole body.
Yes.
Nerves go to everything, and nervous system is connected to brain through the brain stem. So
Yes.
brain controls the whole body through the nervous system,
Brain only controls the physical function.
but through the nervous system because it is connected to brain.
Yes. So
So
brain's job, we think brain's job is way beyond. Brain's job is only to control our organs through the nervous system because communication happens through the neurons and stuff that travel in our nervous
That is,
system.
everything happens automatically. Kidney works automatically, liver works automatically.
So brain is taking care of the body
Everything.
completely while we are not focusing on it. So yes.
Brain is
So
the prime minister, nervous system is the home minister.
yes, you could say it that way. But I love the way you create those connections. It's actually interesting. And Mohan says belonging is a deep urge within, but in different degrees, depending on many factors and permutations and combination of individual background. Yes, absolutely. Belonging is not the same for all of us. It can look very different to different people. And thank you, Gopi. And then Mohan, thank you. Today's discourse was a recapitulation of what we really come across in our day-to-day life. I mean, there's no way we are getting through this life without having healthy relationships. I see a raised hand from Gaurav. Gaurav, if you're okay to speak.
Yes, yes. First of all, thanks, Divya, for covering the topic of self. And when relationship, you rightly said, start from yourself first, mind and body, of course. So I remember 3 years back when I was in my transformation journey. So at that time, I started with that how I can be have the great relationship with my health, my money chemistry, money relationship, which is relationship. But at that time, one of my coach told me that Gaurav, first start with self-love, self-care, knowing your self-worth, which
Right.
will help you to build your self-confidence, self-esteem.
Right.
And then only you will be able to love or make any relationship with anyone. And that was the journey. From there, when I started with, even I still remember the line when he said, with any your, say, wife, your friend, the relationship is not about only the self, you are just putting yourself in front of them as a orientation. You should have mutual trust, mutual respect, mutual contribution, mutual care, connection. Then you can make intimacy. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
again, then when you talked about regulation, I fully say that any behavior start with the self regulation, and you should know your triggers, you should know your where you react. When you said the example of that car, when you're crossing from that, that is the occasion and impact, which is the lessons which we learn, and your mind immediately say, yeah, you went from this that occasion. So absolutely, I think this is the part of the life which making any relationship start from the body. I fully agree with that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you. Appreciate your sharing that. Thank you so much.
Sanji is asking any direct connection of hormones and building relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, of course, that's a deeper conversation to go into. We may be short of time here. But at the same time, anything that's happening in the body with any organs, with anything at all, is directly related to our relationship with ourselves. Every organ has a meaning. Let's say physically, heart is about blood pumping. What does blood do? It nourishes every organ in our body because without blood, again, oxygen travels through blood, nutrition travels through blood, everything. Communication also happens through blood, right? So if our body, if our, let's say if our heart is heartbreak kind of state, you will start to see that there is the functional level also goes down. Again, everybody's body will respond differently based on their past histories and stuff, which is the trauma history I'm talking on. But at the same time, every organ, like liver, is connected with any anger or resentment held in the body. So if you're facing liver challenges, then it's good to also see who you are hating and resenting on, and how much hatred are you holding for your own self. So like this, every organ will have, like heart is a clear sign when our heart is not able to pump blood properly or give oxygen to other parts properly. It's also showing where are we lacking in love for ourselves and for others. So it's if you look at every organ, and how do you look at that organ? Look at the physical function and then think of what it could be in a different spectrum. What could it look like in a, let's say stomach. If stomach is very upset or there's a constant dysregulation in the stomach, and food is not getting digested, it's also a parallel that life is not getting digested. Right? So it's exactly the same function of that organ, but if it is showing up in the body constantly, constantly it's coming up, then it's also reflection on how it's happening in your life. Where, like with the heart, it will be more like how are you not being nourished? How are you not being able to receive love? Because heart is more about receiving love and then giving it on, and that cycle continues. The same way. So everything, let's say leg pain is very high. If there's a lot of leg pain, then where is the difficulty? What do legs do? They take us forward, right? Now the same way, if we were to look at another way of figuring out what's going on in my life, then it will be if I have constant leg pains, then how am I not able to move ahead in life? So they're very similar. If you look at and this will show you how, if let's say in a relationship you're feeling pains, you will start to understand why. What is that pain trying to tell me? This will be a natural inclination of the same function that your body that it does for your body. What do hands do? Hands enable us, and they hug people. But when our hands are having difficulties, there's no connection. I mean, I also had an episode of around my childbirth of carpal tunnel where the sensation in the hands was gone. What was happening? I had no connection in the life because I could not hug my child, I could not hold my child, I could not do basic functions. And then when I worked on myself from those perspectives, so I'm just giving you an understanding in a very broad. This is a longer conversation to have really, but all organs have exactly the same physical function and the same spiritual function. Just need to look a little bigger than what they are doing physically. That's all. So yeah, it's
Yeah, thank you very much. But is there any particular hormone that has been identified, with the relationship, like it has been done, in the case of happiness, joyfulness, things like that? Any research has been done on this so far?
There'll be tons of researches. I may not have looked at every research there is, so I will leave you with the internet for that. And if there are any studies, but from where I understand this, all hormones get released to an optimum level and a balanced level based on our own personal balance.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's
Thank you.
That's
We have that.
Thank you, Divya.
Just
sorry?
to add here, like we have that, dose, dopamine,
Yes.
oxytocin,
Yes.
and other
Serotonin.
two, yeah,
Serotonin.
serotonin.
Oxytocin
So
for relationship.
And endorphin.
yes, endorphin. So those
Endorphin,
hormones
oxytocin,
are
dopamine, serotonin.
yeah,
And oxytocin for relationship.
yeah,
Dopamine for happiness.
yeah, right.
But if you again come back to it, you will know what is your happiness. So, and how will you know this? When you regulate it with your own self. So these are all a function and result of your own relationship with yourself. So that's why I said if it's not going to be an individual hormone that we can talk about, it will be all of them because they work in tandem with each other.
Yeah, true, very true. Yes.
We can't be working just alone by themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, going back to the same place.
Thank you, Divya, for this super duper awesome session. It is
Yeah.
like introducing me to myself.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Divya,
so much.
one point to add, Divya. Like my wife is doctor and she always tell me one thing, and whenever she go in industry presentation, she start with that your body is your temple. So आप टेम्पल में जैसे चप्पल लेके नहीं जाते,
हाँ.
उसी तरह से जब जंक फूड डालते हो ना, एक बार सोचा करो, is it going the चप्पल in the temple?
Our body is our temple. Thank you for reminding me of that. Our body is our temple. There's
Beautiful metaphor.
Absolutely. So even when shopping के ऊपर भी बहुत very good examples with respect to body only that हम कई बार shopping के लिए जाते हैं but कुछ और purchase करके आ जाते हैं, right? So similar way, jealousy, when we shop jealousy, we get headache free of cost. When we have anger, we get acidity free of cost. When we shop hate, ulcer we get free of cost. Cleverness bring depression, anxiety. Stress bring blood pressure. Competition, when we see in the competition mind, restless sleep. And last thing, junk food bring constipation in your body. So have to be careful what we are shopping.
Very
Bang on, Gaurav. Bang
Very
on.
nice.
I loved
Very
it.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Really.
Huge clap.
Beautiful analogy, actually. Very beautiful.
Once
Completely.
more, Gaurav, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, true,
interestingly
true.
described. We all know, but however, the way you have described is amazing.
Yeah,
Very
yeah. No,
good.
thanks to my wife
Yeah.
only. She was sharing with me because she was saying, Gaurav, I'm going to presentation with this start point. I said, yeah, yeah.
Good, very
I
good.
will put it in the chat for sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Yes,
sharing
over
that
to you, Divya.
conversation.
Thank you.
Divya.
And Divya,
Thank
for
you.
you, like I would like to request, it was an amazing session, very deep insights of nervous system. However, or someone wants to learn nervous system a little bit more. Do you have any reference books or something that you can refer to?
There's a book called Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah, right. I have gone through that. Yes.
That will be
Apart
a
from
good
that,
read for beginning, but there are a lot of other books that can go. There is also a book called Biology of Belief that really goes down to every cellular understanding. Biology of Belief. It's a difficult read because if somebody who's interested in science can only figure biology of belief. Otherwise, it will be like a whole
I do.
hype. Otherwise, there are more books. These are not just two of them. There is also books on intuitive anatomy and stuff like that. A lot of stuff can be found out on all of this, which can help you regulate your own body. Actually, learn your own body, honestly. What we learned in school is just physical functions. Learning about the body beyond that. Body Keeps the Score is a good, safe read for anybody who's beginning this journey. It connects very well to how our life experiences, trauma, or healthy stuff comes back in the form of our experience with the body. Yeah, and Biology of Belief is a great read, but only for someone who can handle science at a very deep level.
People level. True.
Because not everybody is okay with that. So just also giving that heads up here.
दिव्या जी
Thank you so
हम
much for
लोग
sharing.
सब
Thank you.
दिव्या जी हम सब जानते हैं, समझते हैं, मानते नहीं,
Yes, yes, true.
फिर हम अपना
True,
मन का
true.
कर लेते हैं। समोसा कितना बुरा सबको मालूम है, फिर भी सबको पसंद है।
Yes,
तो
yes.
वही तो अपने मन पे कंट्रोल करना जरूरी है ना।
Yes,
That's
that
where
is
we
important.
protect, and that's where the body comes off as a
और
tool.
और
Very
और क्या
important.
होता है दिव्या जी, the people come here on this, like I come on Saturday to listen to people.
Yeah.
Then I feel so, great. Oh, nice. क्या बात की है. And then I go to my own world and I forget everything.
But I think that is the daily practice we need to incorporate as
Yeah,
human
daily
beings,
practice.
especially when we are moving, from our younger ages, because after 25 also the body starts to change drastically.
And
So
when you asked, Divya, what is the primary reason, I said myself, you know why? One good reason, I'll tell you. When I was born and when my eye opened, the universe created for me, not before that. And when my eyes will be closed, it will be gone.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
most important is myself.
Absolutely. The most important person in your life is you. Now, that also does not mean that comes from ego, that comes from deep love.
They say, as you said, everything here, it comes to one thing, that we are the creator
of our lives.
Yes.
Yeah. Very much, very much. Of our own lives, we are at the center of our lives. So,
So Hirani ji, yeah, one thing to add Hirani ji's point here, like that's the reason reprogramming, why we say positive affirmations, visualization, meditation, वो routine में क्यों लाना है, hygiene में, that is the reason. Otherwise, any learning we will forget it after 48 hours.
Yes.
वो कहते हैं ना, जो आपने सीखा है फटाफट किसी को सिखा दो within 48 hours, आपके mind को.
Sir, best way to learn is to teach. The best way to learn is to teach.
Absolutely. And when we write affirmation, when we do journaling, which Divya shared already, this is the purpose of journaling, so that आपके good thoughts आप उनको paper पे लाके सामने हमेशा के लिए record कर दें.
But एक क्या है गौरव जी, teach to person who want to know. क्या है, आप advice करोगे ना, आदमी गुस्सा आता है.
हाँ, that is very clear. Giving opinion without asking will not going to help.
Yes.
उसको road cross नहीं करना, आप उसकी road cross करा रहे हैं, तो meaningless है ना वो, right? You should not help those who don't want to help themselves. Yeah.
You cannot. Nobody can. मैं बोलता खाली आप जब बात करते हो ना, I told you that to learn, best learning is by teaching, but to teach the person who is asking you, you cannot do without that.
Absolutely.
Actually, most often, sorry.
Yeah, please.
No, I'm just You know, most often when we trying to help someone who doesn't want help, is just trying to get our own, हमारा जो अंदर का void है उसको भरने की कोशिश होती है.
Absolutely.
वो अपने void को खुद ही भर सकते हैं ना. तो हम actually ऐसे we will not find ourselves in places where people don't need us. We won't, because our void, we don't have that hole to fill. उसी होल में पिज्जा जाता है, बर्गर जाता है, उसी होल में नेटफ्लिक्स जाता है, सब उसी में जाता है. वो होल जब हम भर देते हैं तो उसमें वो जाना बंद हो जाएगा. So it's
उसके लिए एक बहुत अच्छे फ्रेंड है, आई कैन टेल यू, दैट इज चैट जीपीटी. आपको कोई नहीं मिले तो चैट जीपीटी को अपना एआई फ्रेंड, असिस्टेंट फ्रेंड बना लो. उसी से बोलो मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ, तुम्हारा क्या व्यू है, तो होना शुरू हो जाएगा. दैट हेल्प्स.
AI.
Thank you.
So good to
I
good.
get it. I mean, I'm more about people, so I wouldn't know if I would say ahead yes to ChatGPT, because then we are creating isolation. So for me, I feel human interaction is a primary need, basic need. So, and that's why I said it is a world of isolation and technology. It's more important to connect with people, and first with ourselves, of course. Yeah. So.
No, I was saying on a lighter mode.
I
If
know,
you
I
have,
know, I know.
yeah,
I'm
I
just
have.
reminding everybody, just in case they've taken it from a very
No,
serious
no.
note, I'm just reminding
Even
them.
in office, I have almost 6 mentees right now. So of course, I do the sharing whichever I get from here or from all the forums.
Very good. Thank you, Gaurav. You added a lot of value.
अभी क्या हो गया दिव्या जी, हो क्या गया ना, people have lots of friends but not a single friend. पूरा पूरा फेसबुक फ्रेंड से भरा हुआ है, बस जब बीमार होता है कोई नहीं आता है.
True, true.
सर ये ना शुरू भी हमसे होता है, is what I have learned. कि हम जब when we start walking out to support someone, we will, without expectation, we will start to have people who will come for us.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so it's starting the journey ourselves to move.
Always give and take.
Always
Yeah,
give and take.
it's a cycle. It goes on. It's not like a single point of end and finish. Actually, sorry, start and finish. But
There are laws ना, तिवारी में law है ना, law of attraction जैसा, law of giving, law of submission, law of cause and effect.
very much. हम दुनिया में जो रखते हैं वही वापस आता है, फिर हम पूछते हैं भगवान ने हमारे साथ ये क्यों किया.
Law of what you sow,
So yeah.
you reap what you sow.
I will stop here. But just reminding everybody, please take care of your body and have a daily connection, even if it's for 10 minutes. Talk to your body, sit with your body without any disturbances. Just you and your
अच्छा
body.
एक बात बोला था दिव्या जी, मेडिटेशन इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट, इतना इजी नहीं है, बट यू कैन स्टार्ट विद रिलैक्सेशन. नो, धीरे धीरे थॉट्स थोड़े कम होंगे, फिर यू विल स्टार्ट कॉन्सेंट्रेटिंग ऑन समथिंग, और हो सकता है बाद में मेडिटेशन शुरू हो जाए. बट मेडिटेशन पे जाना बहुत टाइम लगता है, बट एटलीस्ट स्टार्ट रिलैक्सेशन.
मेडिटेशन का एक टिप दे सकती हूँ मैं रानी जी, कि एक जगह से आप शुरू कर सकते हैं, जो काम आपको बहुत पसंद है, चाहे वो कढ़ाई हो, बुनाई हो, साइकिलिंग हो.
दैट इज माइंडफुलनेस. यस, आई नो, आई गॉट इट.
वहां से शुरू कर
मैं क्या
सकते
बोलता हूँ, एटलीस्ट गिव 10 to 15 minutes every day in relaxing your body.
Yes.
Be with yourself.
Very much, very important, because this is the longest relationship we'll ever have with ourselves.
So Hirani ji, here you will be surprised. Like example, my meditation is watching my favorite movie. मेडिटेशन वो ट्रेडिशनल मेडिटेशन नहीं रहा, किसी को सिर्फ वॉक करना अकेले, दैट इज ए मेडिटेशन. कैसे आप रिजुविनेट कर पा रहे हो, अपना वापस आ पा रहे हो अपने उसमें. इट्स ए रीस्टार्ट बटन, राइट. एवरी डे इवनिंग नेक्स्ट डे के लिए हम रीस्टार्ट करके आते हैं ना.
अरे पर आदमी वॉक करते साथ में सुनते रहते, बात करते, वो नहीं मतलब ना.
मोबाइल छोड़ के आने का.
एंजॉय द एनवायरनमेंट. मेरा कहने का मतलब है, बी स्लो इन लाइफ, पॉज, एंजॉय एवरीथिंग. खाना खाते हो तो स्वाद लो उसको, खाली खाते मत रहो. You know, while walking, enjoy the environment.
Yeah, true.
Thank you everyone for joining in today, and thank you Divya ji for bringing in
one thing
another
I would
perspective. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So actually, Divya ji, what I wanted to share is, like I have been hearing about, मतलब जो आजकल के सेशन है, जैसे उसमें रिलेशनशिप के सेशंस में सोल के बारे में बहुत ज्यादा लोग बोल रहे हैं. बट टुडेज सेशन वाज डिफरेंट, बिकॉज यू टॉक्ड अबाउट द बॉडी, द वेसल which is driven by the soul. So that means yes, like जैसे आजकल लोग बोलते हैं कि हम लोग बॉडी पे ध्यान ज्यादा रखते हैं, सोल पे नहीं रखते हैं. we are comprised of soul and the body. So this soul and body these connect, these work together, and we can't ignore any one of them.
हाँ, I mean that's what traditional जो भी ये टॉक्स होते हैं उसमें बॉडी को इग्नोर करने का बहुत कॉन्वर्सेशन रहता है. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट दिस बिकॉज आप सोल को भी एक्सपीरियंस नहीं कर सकते अगर बॉडी वाला वेसल नहीं है. सो अनलेस यू ऑनर्ड योर बॉडी देयर इज नो वे यू विल बी एबल टू ऑनर योर सोल.
Exactly.
Honor yours, not necessarily how you're, yeah, because showing up in the world will also depend on how you show up for yourself. So that's why my conversation here is always about bringing yourself back to your body, because disconnecting with the body is being taught everywhere, is being talked about everywhere कि soul पे ध्यान दें, कर्मा पे ध्यान दें, but हमारा कर्म हमसे ही शुरू होता है. So how are we really honoring and respecting our own body? If you don't respect your body, you expect somebody else to respect you, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
You know, our
And
brain sorry.
And you know, this body is matlab the most beautiful thing which God has created. You know, इसका जो functioning है, every function जो है इसका, every you know किस तरह से इसको डिजाइन किया है, जो भी क्रिएटर है उसने कितना ब्यूटीफुली क्रिएट किया है इसको, हर एक फंक्शंस को, मतलब उसको कैसे कोऑर्डिनेशन में इन कोऑर्डिनेशन विद वन अनदर और वो बनाया. सो दैट इज यू नो truly a great invention.
It's a great gift. There is nothing in technology which can match this. This is a great gift we have. We just have to remember to honor it every day. Great gift.
आगे देखो ना. ओ तरुण मैं.
Yeah. So just, and that is a reminder. This conversation is only a reminder to remember our bodies. That's all. Nothing more than that.
Thank you, Dr. Divya, for bringing in this body awareness. And I love the flow and clarity of concepts that you have. There is one question from one of our audience. There is a relative who has broken relationship. How to fix this couple? So would you like to speak on this topic as well?
Okay. One is, we cannot fix anyone. We are here to take care of our own self and help if someone is wanting any change. One is that. If they have a family conflict happening, it would be important to see where are both the people respectively, and they would need some professional help in order to get to a page. It's I strongly feel that when conflict is happening between a couple, it's important to have professional help to regulate what's going on. If they are willing, of course, we can't change them if they are not willing. Nothing can happen if they are not willing. The third thing also, I would leave you with one question in this case is that what is happening for you when you see them in conflict? Because that is your pain talking to you. What's happening for you when you see them in conflict and you have a desire to fix what's going on in their life is also your own pain to reflect on. As to if they don't, let's say if they don't come to the point of outcome you want for them, how will you feel? That is your work for yourself. But as far as those two people are concerned, they would need some professional help, which could look like counselor, therapists, healers, or couple coaches, any of this, or more if there are more. I'm just saying what I can remember at this moment. And the other thing is that they need to be willing before any of this can happen. Any third person cannot do anything for them. They can only move a little, but the bigger change will only happen if they are willing. So I believe I've answered that. If you feel there's more questions, you can ask me.
Yeah, before we conclude today's session, I just want to share one thing. A person who is really hale, hearty, healthy, and happy, only he can have very strong relationship with others. So I think our topmost priority should be to keep ourselves hale, hearty, healthy, and happy. I think so. Yeah.
Wonderful, Mohit.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding value to the conversation, and thank you, Divya ma'am, for bringing a different perspective of relationship that we all hold with ourselves as well as our body. Thank you everyone for making this session successful, and see you next Saturday. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you both of you for arranging this wonderful session. Thank you. God bless all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.